In this lecture, we'll talk about Ethereum accounts. There are two types of accounts: externally owned accounts or EOA and contract accounts. An externally owned account, simply named account or user account, is controlled by a private key and identified by a unique address. It has no associated code, and someone can generate and send a transaction if he or she possesses the private key. This account is used to send and to receive Ether and for interacting with smart contracts, for deployment and for calling functions. If we want to hold Ether or to send Ether to someone, we need to create or to have an externally owned account. We can create for free our externally owned account using the MetaMask plugin. We'll discuss about MetaMask in another chapter, or using my Ether wallet. My Ether wallet is a web service, a web application that connects to the Ethereum blockchain, and it's used to create a wallet. A wallet means an externally owned account, or to send Ether and tokens to other accounts. So if I want to create a new account, a new wallet, I simply type a password here. This password must be strong because the private key and the address pair will be encoded in a key file, in a JSON file, and the private key will be encrypted with the password I enter here. So I must enter a strong password. And I'll create a new wallet, and my JSON key store file has been created. We can create as many accounts as we want, and we don't need an interaction with the Ethereum blockchain to generate an account. So we can create our account from an offline computer. We can download this JSON file locally, and if we hold real Ether in our account, it is recommended to save this file in cold storage. Cold storage means on a medium that doesn't connect to the internet. So, for example, on an USB stick or a computer without an internet connection. This is for our security. Inside this file, we find our new Ethereum address that was generated and information about the encryption used. For example, the cipher protocol is AES 128. This means Advanced Encryption Standard with a key length of 128 bits. And also here we find our encrypted private key. The second type of account that is defined in Ethereum is the contract account. A contract account is controlled by the contract code. It's like an agent, and its code execution is triggered by receiving a transaction or a message from another contract or from an externally owned account. This account has control of its own Ether balance and state variables. It can hold an Ether balance like an EOA account. For that, there must be a payable function defined. We'll talk about payable functions in another section. This account doesn't have a public or a private key. To create a contract account, the Solidity source code must be compiled into bytecode, and that bytecode must be deployed on the Ethereum blockchain. An externally owned account or another contract can deploy the bytecode and can create the contract. An Ethereum account has a nonce. This is a sequential number tied to every transaction that represents the number of transactions the sender account has made on the network. It's a mechanism used to ensure that the same transaction isn't submitted twice. Then every account has an Ether balance in way and an account address. An externally owned account has a public and a private key pair, and the contract account doesn't have this pair. Then there is the code. Only a contract account has code attached. So this is the immutable Ethereum virtual machine bytecode that has been deployed. Then we have the storage, which is empty by default. Only the contract account has storage attached. The account state contains the nonce, the balance, storage root and code hash. This is only for contract accounts. This is the Kechak 256 hash of the EVM account code. Let's talk about the Ethereum address. An externally owned account address is derived from the last 20 bytes or 160 bits of the public key that are hashed. It's represented in a hexadecimal format, which is often indicated explicitly by appending 0x to the address. The address for an Ethereum contract is deterministically computed from the address of its creator, the account that deploys the contract, and how many transactions that account has sent. This is the nonce. There is a lowercase address version and a partial uppercase version that also contains a checksum. For example, we've just created an Ethereum account on my Ether wallet, and inside that file we can find the address. So this is the address without 0x and written with lowercase letters. We can also go to Etherscan, the Ethereum block explorer, and here let's take the last transaction that has been mined. This is the last transaction. Okay, the transaction failed, but this doesn't matter. We can see that this Ethereum account sent the transaction to this contract. So these are Ethereum addresses. By the way, this transaction failed because it ran out of gas.